Today we're having a little look at my lingonberry bush. It's a really sweet member of the Vaccinum family, so in the same family or the genus as blueberries and regular cranberries as well. It actually tastes a lot like cranberries, but it's just a lot smaller. Really, really sweet. And it is evergreen, so even now, if you look at the tips here, we can see there are some beautiful little flower buds coming along. See? Really small. Now, what has happened is I recently had to repot it. Actually, there's flower tips on all of the tips here, flower buds on all the tips. But I recently had to repot it because it was, the pot it was in, it was a wooden pot and it sort of had rotted through, so I needed to get it into this pot here. And when I did it, I didn't have enough acidic soil. It needs to be an ericaceous compost. So I just mixed up some ericaceous compost with some perlite, and that sort of made it less acidic. So I think the plant has suffered slightly. It's got some spots there, which is not ideal. So I want to repot it now, and I went to the garden centre. It's a sale, January sales, and I got myself a larger pot here. So I'm going to fill it up with ericaceous compost and just repot the plant into that slightly larger pot, and then hopefully it will do well. I was going to trim it because the best time to prune it is during the winter, because they never go quite dormant, but they're slightly more dormant during the winter. But this one seems to be ready to start pushing out new flower buds. It just seems to be an ever-bearing one, so I don't know exactly. I might see if there are some tips that aren't in bloom, but they don't seem to be. They all seem to have little flower buds on them, so maybe it'll be okay. I'll repot it and then we'll have a think. Now look at how small that root ball actually is. It's just like with blueberries, they spread through underground runners here. You can see this one here has a little runner, this one here. And actually when I repotted it earlier, I did remove some runners and I repotted them so they can become separate plants. But it's looking good. I mean, the root's small. That's why they say that for plants like this, such as blueberries as well, then we should put them in wider pots rather than deep ones, because they don't need super deep pots for their roots. They need more wider pots to spread. But when I was looking for a pot today, I could only find this one. They really didn't have many deep ones, or wide ones I should say. So I think it's going to be okay here. Let's have a look. Let's get it settled in the middle. There's space for it to spread out in all sides. It's a really beautiful plant here. Let's get it settled in. So there it is. It's getting a bit dark out here, so I've got to hurry up a bit. But it's looking really good. I think I might, rather than use pine cones as mulch, I might actually use some moss. I've got myself a big bucket here of moss I've picked from the garden. So I might just cover it up with that. And that will also give the soil some protection, because we are having some really cold weather now. We had so much wet weather for all of December, and now that we're in January, we've got the cold, and it's like down to -1. It's going to be -2 next week. It's just sort of freezing, so I do want to keep it safe. And the thing is, this pot is of course frost resistant, so that's a bonus. But there we go. I mean, moss is the kind of thing that does grow in the environment that these lingonberries usually grow in, so it should be really good. It keeps everything nice and moist down there. They do need lots of moisture. That's what they want. They want a cold, moist, and acidic environment. So hopefully I've given it all of its requirements now, and I'll let it settle in for a couple of weeks and then come back and have a look and see if I need to do some top pruning, because I am thinking I should probably just sort of nip the tips off that have those spots on them, but I could also just leave it and let it see if it can recover itself, because there are all the flowers coming on those tips, so it is a shame to waste them. But hopefully it'll be happy in its new little pot. I'm going to put it in a little sheltered spot now. So let me know what you think about lingonberries. I would love to hear from you, especially if you're growing lingonberries yourself. And I'll see you next time. Until then, bye for now.